3 up, 2 across, tap that play button 3 times, and walk through the archway into Dialogue Alley. Hello and welcome to Dialogue Alley, a podcast all about Harry Potter books, book translations, and all other things magical. I'm Melanie.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Erik.
And the 3 of us are Harry Potter book translation collectors. That means that we collect Harry Potter books from all over the world, from Afrikaans to Yiddish and everything in between. There are so many books. Here is our podcast talking about all of those books. And today, for our episode, Season 4, Episode 11, we are going to be having a very cool, open chit-chat about translation collecting, what it means, what we collect, what's on the list, what is a translation versus a revised edition versus second translation, and what do we personally collect and how we go about it. Does that sound good? Does that sound right?
I'm so excited about this discussion, actually.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, that's it. That's what we're talking about today.
Well, and we have a great book to talk about too. The translation of the show.
We always have a great tots, though. To be fair, our tots is always great.
I know. And if you listen to us last episode, we did hint that this was going to be our translation of the show because we were so excited about talking about this book. So stay tuned. It's coming. But first, why don't we get into some news?
Alrighty, so we have some pretty cool news on our front. It is the 3-year anniversary of our podcast, you guys.
Can you believe that?
No.
We kind of missed it. I think it was like last week, but it was like in between, like right after we recorded the last one, and then we recorded this one.
I think you're quite right. And either way, we've been here for 3 years. We're into, season 4. We have a lot of really cool things. We've talked a lot about a really cool, we've talked about a lot of really cool things, and we've had a lot of fun. I can't believe I've known you guys for so long.
No,
but it's just so easy.
To make a correction to that, we've all known each other for a lot longer than 3 years.
A lot longer. Like, I can't believe we've been going on 3 years, let alone known you guys, because it just feels so short. Like, I've had so much fun with you guys that it doesn't feel like it's been 3 years already, because I enjoy you guys so much.
I mean, this is a good time to ask and refresh. Like, how long have you guys been collecting at this point?
2009 for me, but I started with the movie props and moved into Rare and Signed books probably 2010, because I didn't do the movie props for that long.
What about you?
I don't have a solid date because people would bring me stuff. So I don't know when. I was probably in high school, so maybe 2005. But later when I started spending my own money and buying my own stuff when I traveled. So I don't know. It's hard because people would get stuff for me before I could buy stuff for myself. So I really didn't start going places that I was funding until I was a grown up. So I don't know. I would still say 2005 is when I started really collecting books from around the world.
I think that's really cool.
Me stuff. So
yeah.
It would count.
Yeah, I was in college, so that was I don't know, 10-ish, 15-ish years ago at this point. And I every so often I have these posts that come up on my Facebook and my remember when things, and it'll say look at my Harry Potter collection. It'll be 4 translations and all of my US and UK books, and I was so proud of all of these books. And now I have hundreds and hundreds of Harry Potter books in my collection, and it's crazy and weird and awesome. And now it's not just, it's not just like a few books. It's also like a brand, and it's a podcast, and
it's a whole, and it's friendships too. Like so many good friendships have come out of this.
The community of it all is like such a cool thing. So 3 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
Really, really fast. I have a question that kind of spawned from that, and then I'll go into like the next little thing. What was the thing that was like, I'm going to jump into this, like for you, Erik and Melanie? Because I know when mine started, when I was going to be like, this is going to be what I'm going to do. And it was a very quick thing. Like I was collecting Alfred Lord Tennyson poems, like A Lady of Shalott specifically, different editions of those. And I was like, I love Harry Potter. Let's just go there. So then I went to the movie props. And then about 6 months in, I was like, I love the books. And then I just jumped to rare and signed books. It was very easy for me. So I don't know, like, if someone just brought you stuff, Erik, like, what was the spin-off moment that was like, I'm going to go for all of these?
Well, as soon as someone brought me a translation, and then I think I'm sure I've mentioned this, when I was with my parents and we bought the Spanish translation in Mexico, that was really cool. Like I think maybe for the two of you too, like the art really drew me in. So as soon as I got a translation, well, like my first UK book was different art than I had. So I was like, wow, this is cool. I want more art. And then the Spanish one I got next was unique art. And then the next one was probably like French or Italian or one of the other really easy ones, or Japanese, honestly. And so like those are all interesting art. And so like naive me at that time, when I didn't really know, there really wasn't an online presence for translation collecting like in the late 2000s, right? Like I didn't know of any of you guys, and I'm sure we were all doing this at the same time. I didn't know Peter was doing that at the same time. Like we were all just kind of doing our own thing. But yeah, it was a while before I realized that like, oh, I got this Russian book and it's just the same art as the US books. Like I had just like assumed that all the countries had like their own art, because there wasn't really like a database to look up all of this art on the internet. So I don't know, people just kept bringing me books. I would travel and get some books if I could. And I don't know, I guess the second I got the UK book was like, I want more of this. This is really cool. And obviously I loved Harry Potter, so it made sense. And just assuming without seeing a list that most places that I would go, like that were popular travel destinations, would have a book in that country. Like I didn't know that you could go to like India and get 5 different translations or something, or 6 translations, who knows. So I just assumed that there weren't as many as there actually are.
Right.
So that was kind of like the when I did see a list, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of books. I guess I'm going for them all. Like that's
okay.
I already had enough at that point. I'm like, I'll just keep on going. Let's go.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked a bit about like when I first like officially really started collecting Harry Potter books, but I was just thinking about it, and like I remember the exact moment that the whole thing was sparked in me, which was I was very close with my orchestra teacher in high school. I'm an orchestra dork. Like I play upright bass. It's my thing. And I remember like sitting in her office, sitting on the floor of her office with my friend Nicole. She played cello, and she was 2 years older than me. So this had to have been when Half-Blood Prince was coming out. So like 2005. And I remember her saying like, oh yeah, my copy of Half-Blood Prince, like I just got my copy of Half-Blood Prince. But I can't wait to have the UK edition in hand because I like having both cover arts. She said something like that. And I was like, that's a really cool like thing. Like I didn't even realize that there were multiple cover arts and things like that. And I just remember her saying that, and it stuck out with me that this existed. And I remember, so years later, I went to Israel, remember seeing bookstores. I remember seeing Casual Vacancy in Hebrew in the windows, and was like, wow, it'd be really cool to have Harry Potter in Hebrew. And I didn't get it. And then a few months later, my parents went to Italy, and that's when they brought back my first translations. At that point, I think I already had all of the UK books, but no like foreign translations, I guess. So I got Italian that way. I got French that way, my first French book. And then from there, anytime I knew someone was going abroad, it was, hey, can you bring me back a Harry Potter book? And then I started the Instagram, started the whole thing. So like it just got out of hand real quick. But the cool like roundabout story with that is like years ago, I did a talk at my local library where I brought in all of my Sorcerer's Stones, like every translation, and I did activities with the kids, showed them all the covers from all over the world. And that girl, Nicole, actually like helped run the program. Like she was in charge of running the program at the library. So it was just like cool full circle moment. Like I don't think I ever mentioned to her that she had like a big like influence. And I guess I'm not really even putting two and two together until like now. But yeah, that's kind of like how it all came about. It's just pretty crazy looking back like that. And look at us now. Look at this.
I know.
It's crazy.
So many things.
I'd be very curious to use the time machine and like even just go on eBay in like 2005 and just see if people were selling translations. Like I'm sure they were.
Oh yeah, but we weren't looking.
Like,
and I wish we were.
No, we weren't looking.
Think about all the translations that are hard to find now that we could have bought. Asturian wasn't made yet, but Malayalam and Gujarati weren't far behind. So if we would have been watching like in the late aughts, I guess we could have.
I mean, I guess I'm not worried so much about like getting books before they were rare. I guess I'm more just curious.
I didn't want to pay the price.
The scene. Well, obviously, we all wish we could have bought some of those books before we knew they were going to not print them anymore. But just I don't know, just seeing like what the scene was. Like, was there a Facebook group somewhere? Like, could I have started a Facebook group? Maybe like, was Reddit a thing? I don't even remember. Like, when was Reddit started? Like,
I remember I joined Reddit in 2010.
Yeah, Reddit's been around for a long time, but like, was the book getting seen like big on that? Right. Who knows?
But there was so many different translation collectors that thought that they were the only ones doing it for so long that I'm curious if you had have made a Facebook group, but for the longest time, much sooner.
That was us though, Carly. Like for the longest time, that was us. When you're talking about like, oh, there were only like so many and the first people collecting, that was me, you, Peter, Xander,
Sean,
and the Shawns. Like that was us, the Shawns, Peter and the Shawns. But like,
but that depends on what you classify, because I'm not saying I'm part of that group, but like I had a fair few translations by like 2007.
I think that's what I mean. So like I mean in like weird. the social media community of
the social media, yeah, definitely.
Like we were like the faces of it, to the point where like Carly and I, like I feel like we joke all the time about how there was like an article that was written about like best Harry Potter accounts, and it was like our Harry Potter accounts for collecting Harry Potter stuff. And now like social media is like such easy access now, and I feel like that's probably why I've lost my taste for it, because anyone could just like, you know, post a picture of their collection, and if you have a lot of money, then you can have any of these items in a collection. Not necessarily like what we do, which for us, it's not even a matter of money. For us, it's a matter of like, some of these things are really rare, and the hunt is what's so fun about it, and trying to track things down. Yep. We own really rare pieces in our collections. All three of us do. And I feel like social media is kind of like blasting those people that have these full crazy Harry Potter rooms, and the rooms that are decked out in all of the Pottery Barn stuff and all of the Funko Pops and all of that stuff. That's awesome. And I love those accounts, and I follow so many of those accounts. But like, that's what we're seeing. We're not really seeing Harry Potter book collectors on social media so much anymore, which is why I've kind of like fallen out of love with the social media aspect.
I think that's also true many for pictures, me, because there's so many like so many pictures accounts.
Of a cover of a book.
Yeah, well, I know. And there's only so many times you could post like, oh, I'm going to post all of the covers A through Z now on my thing, and I'm going to post all the German books, and I'm going to post this set and this book one at a time.
There's also wonderful back covers and internal art. Like, there's a lot of room for content with these books.
Yeah, I think I've just gotten
there is, but it's like if Melanie's posting covers of these books and I'm posting covers of these books and Carly's posting covers of these books.
We all have very different photographic eyes.
We notice that. We notice, right.
We appreciate seeing all of that. But like just to the general person, it's not like I don't take great photos. It's like it's a book.
No.
I have like one picture that I'm super proud of, like the Japanese cover, and I have like a wand on there, like some like colorful rock. And it took me like 20 minutes to set this thing up, and I was like, wow, that was great. And then I posted it, and I was like, well, that was weird. Like, I just spent 20 minutes taking a picture.
I used to try to do fancier backgrounds, and then I was like, you know what? My shelves are incredible. I'm going to use them, and so that's just been what's occurred.
Well, and for how long did we do? We had the phase of like post a picture of a book in a hand. And we just posted pictures of us holding books to see who would get the most likes on them. Like we would do things like that.
That was fun. That was fun. We had a whole inside joke about the book in the hand.
Okay, but like stuff like that was like 10 years ago at this point, which is crazy to think about. But that was like 10 years ago when we were posting things like that. Now, and nowadays, like people aren't going to even bat an eye at your stuff on social media unless it has a trendy Taylor Swift song in the background and you're doing a trend and whatever. Like that's the only thing. And like I like TikTok. I feel like it's a lot of fun, but like I fall out with it too because I just can't keep up with it and I'm just not cool enough for it. And I try, but it's where I'm at.
Well, and it takes time. Like what Erik said, it takes time to set the photo. It takes time to set the scene. It takes time to set the background. Like all of this stuff takes time. And how much time do I really want to devote to creating the perfect fake scene? Like I'd much rather run into my book room, beep, take a photo and be like, yes, it's the book, let's go, and then go on.
Well, like that's
my
almost
style.
Almost a year ago when I was in Orlando for the first time in a long time going to the Wizarding World, like first time on Hagrid's, first time on Velocicoaster, like first time being able to just like kind of do what I want. Well, that's not the first time I could do whatever I want because I went with my wife. But like first time in a long time where it's like, I just want to go eat this. I'm going to go buy one. I'm going to go look at this. And I could have spent the whole time taking photos of myself and posting them, but like I didn't want to. I was like, I just want to hang out and be here. Like this is fun. And I took some photos, but they weren't for like social media content. They were just like, hey, look, it's me in front of this ride and I had a fun time. Hooray. Like that's what I was occupied by, like enjoying my trip. Like I could have easily just let it turn into like a social media frenzy. Which if you went often enough, if you could go often enough, like if you had an annual pass or a like Peter goes all the time or used to go all the time. Melanie used to go quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Like
same.
If you live there too, like then you can like go for a specific purpose of doing that. But like as infrequently as I went, I'm like I'm just going to enjoy my time here, and that's cool because. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to like check out the new merch or anything. Like I wish I could go that often to do that, but I don't. So I was just kind of enjoying the moment.
And in that same vein, like I've been so many neat places. I went to Hawaii. Do you know how many pictures I have from Hawaii? I have 0. I didn't take them.
But that's good because you were probably enjoying yourself.
Exactly. And then I got home and I was like, oh, dang it. But, at the time I was just so in the moment.
Take photos and don't enjoy themselves, though.
I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that's more my style. Like I go and go and go. And then I'm like, oh, I wish I would have at least taken a photo or commemorated this. Or like so many times I would hang out with like. I think at Melanie's wedding, we had to actually be reminded that we needed to take a picture together because we were so excited to see each other that we almost forgot.
I know.
So it's one of those things or like that kind of stuff. Like it's not the first thing that comes to mind is I have to post this because I'm just more wrapped up, I guess, in the doing rather than the photography of. But I enjoy also capturing it. Like that's one of the things I enjoyed about Instagram is it was a neat way to document how my collection was growing. Whereas now I feel like I've got all these new books and I'm overwhelmed by the amount of stuff I need to add.
And I feel like it's that, but like the opposite factor. Like when I was trying to get like the complete collection, every single time I would get a book, I would feature that book and feature that translation, and it would get its own post. And it was like, all right, here's book number 56, like whatever it was. But then once I got all of them, and now I'm just like filling in holes here and there, like I'm not getting books as often as I was when I wasn't paying a mortgage and paying for a kid. Like I'm getting a couple of books a year now, it feels like, and I'm just kind of keeping up with newer things as they come out. So it's not like, so it is kind of like a matter of like running out of content, I guess. But at the same time, I share all of that news like on the podcast, and this is like my platform of choice right now. Is I like doing this. I feel like we kind of like spewed our news into like what we were going to be doing for our
I
news
was
segment.
just about to say that. Like I feel like we blended the two, and so we'll hop back because I love this discussion. I did want to throw in really fast just that if you're buying something, you need to know what it is that you're buying so you don't overspend on like a book club, let's say, that's overpriced in somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, that's a good thing to just kind of throw out. Just what we always say is like constant vigilance. Like before you buy something, and if you're going to be buying something that's over, let's say $50, like do research on whatever that book is going to be. Even if it's over $30, like if you're spending more than $30 on a book, do research on how much you should be spending on that book.
Know what it is that
just
you're
is
buying.
what it is. And going off of all of this stuff that we were saying, there's so much information out there on these books now because there's so many other people in the community that are on social media that you have access to. There's so many people to ask. So just ask.
And there's
ask
so
a
many more
reliable
resources.
source.
Yeah, there's so many more resources than we had when we started, all three of us, and then all of us that we've been in the group for a long, long time. We had minimal resources. We kind of became each other's resources in a way.
Yeah.
True. Well, and this kind of transitions, I think, right into the next topic we wanted to talk about in terms of resources, because something that we've been talking about is like seriously not overhauling, but like adding a significant amount of content and resources, overhauling, sure, we'll use that word, to the podcast website, because we know it's been a little bare bones. It's not like anything big, but that's partly because I think a lot of the information that we wanted to add on there exists in other places, such as Melanie's website or Carly's website or Peter's website. So we didn't really want to just rehash everything that was already out there and be like, here's yet another website with all of the exact same information. So that's really something that we're talking about, the three of us, as well as in our Discord. We have a channel going to kind of find out, like, what could we put on the podcast website that would be helpful for people and would also be entertaining to look at, like pictures of stuff, without just making it like a complete compendium of everything, because that would be, I think, overwhelming to do. But I don't know, I'm just kind of trying to kick off the discussion here. Like, where do we see this going? Is there anything that you're like, yeah, we seriously should definitely put this on the website, but I don't know if we need this? So like, maybe that's my question to you guys. We'll all come up with that. What's one thing that you want to have on there that you think would be a necessary thing, and what's something that you think would be unnecessary? Like, this doesn't need to be there.
I mean, my first place that I started with this was translations, and I feel like Johnny like popped out of the live listening because we're recording like live on our Discord right now, and I wish he stayed in, but I feel like the conversation of like translations and the list and the number gets so like bloated very easily, because we all kind of have different criteria for what we're collecting. And I had to really like sit back and simplify that for myself. So I want the website to be a resource for like any type of collector in that same breath. And I know that that's very similar to what Sean Potterglot has on his website. I think his is like the ultimate resource. I'm trying to like rein it in a little bit, because what I differ from what he collects is he'll collect any edition as long as he has that language. He counts it as I have that language. So he might have Slovak, but he might not have the Mary Grand Pré hardcover Slovak that smells fantastic and he should own in his collection. But he has a Slovak, so he counts that. I know for me, like, I try to have the first state that language was printed in. So that's what I'm trying to have images of on the website. So I don't know if that, like, kind of answers your question. Like, that was the first thing that I was aiming to put on here was translations with pictures. So it's first translations and second translations if it was done by a different translator. So, like, how Turkish was done by 2 translators, that's a second translation. That's on my translation list. And then if I'm posting a picture of it, I'm trying for it to be the first state that was printed in. So, for example, Albanian, we know was, you know, they use like so many different cover arts, but I believe that Mary Grand Pré was the first cover art that they used. So that's what's on the website. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I would love to have it sorted by authorized translations and have it be, like you said, the main image for that to be the first book that was published in that language. And if there are 2 translations, that would get a separate post, like by a second person translator. Anything that was updated or heavily revised, I think would be a cool, like, a little thing next to it. It's like revisions, and you can click on that, and there's like other ones listed, but I wouldn't put them as like a separate post there, even if they are heavily revised. It's like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of, like, to me, I sort them in my head by number of, like, people that did the translations, like the human. And there are some that are, like, significantly revised, which I think are worth noting and should be pointed out. But then there are some that are just sort of mildly revised.
Right. We always use the phrase, like, linguistically interesting. And we do have a ton of books. Like, for me, it's a matter of, like, I just so happen to have those books. Not necessarily that I was actively like, ooh, I need to get this book on my shelves because it's linguistically interesting because it was revised so much that it's so different from the original translation. I just happen to have it because maybe it has a new cover art. Like, I think of the Italian right off the bat. I know that I have it covered where I have the revised edition, but I wasn't intentionally buying that. I was intentionally buying it because it was new cover art. And that's what fits in what I collect.
Well, and that's where I think it would be also cool, like, next to revisions to have, or even on next to revisions, it could say something like other editions, and we could just, any copy that we have that's different than that main image could just live there in a picture. Like, here are all the covers of, you know, Icelandic that we have. Well, there's only 2. That's not a very good example. Spanish, right? Or even
Japanese,
German,
French.
Right? French, yeah. So, or even like Swedish has a couple now, right? Like, that's pretty cool. So just having, like, as many of those covers as we can on there, to me, would be awesome. I don't need all 7 books on there. Like, I think just book 1 is cool enough.
Yeah,
but then again, I'm like sets like Swedish that are super gorgeous. I'm like, oh, I would like to see all those.
Or
so
Finnish,
maybe just like complete art of unique art. Like, I wouldn't need a complete art of the Finnish or the Icelandic books because it's all Grand Pré except for that first one. So I wouldn't need, like, book 2 to see a picture of it. Like, it's just the same. Like,
I agree with that. That's essentially what I have on my website now. And something that's kind of, like, been in the talks between the 3 of us has been, like, I'm not, like, actively, like, trying to get rid of my website, but I am actively trying to, like, combine slowly but surely, like, put the things that are on my website onto Dialogue Alley, because what I was saying to Erik and Carly is, like, if I have to put my attention into a brand, it's going to be into Dialogue Alley because that's where my passions lie right now. So I would rather spend my time editing and maintaining the Dialogue Alley website rather than my Harry Potter collector website, because it's, like, it's redundant. And I feel like our podcast and our website for the podcast could reach a better audience, and it would be, you know, easier access for our audience, if that makes sense. So
yeah, and we can tailor it to our people's needs. Like if they say we want it, you know, we would like this, that's definitely consideration. I think that's a very good thing.
Well, and I think we have so many episodes that tie in with topics, like when we talk about what's my book worth, all right, or how do I determine if this book is fill in the blank? Like, I think a lot of those hard resources exist somewhere, but like having them in one spot with an episode like attached to it, it's
and
like here's this, but also listen to this. It's all in one spot. So I think that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
To keep those things in one place and to make them like easily accessible, because I think a lot of people have the same basic questions about like book rarity, or like, I want to start collecting translations. How should I do it? Like, we have resources for that, and we have resources for book rarity. And when people are like, is this a real signature? Like, we have a person we like to go to authenticate stuff. Like, and we have an episode with him. So like just those like big bang questions that people are always asking on the social media groups, like I think those should be kind of the main like hit points of the website, as well as some other things, but like that's what people are going to want to find answers to.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hopefully providing resources for, because we want to provide factual information to help people collect books. That's why we're doing this. We like collecting. It's fun. We want other people to enjoy it too, whatever their collection may be. I don't think people collect fake signed books. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. I could offer some.
Oh my God, I found one today. I found one on my shelf that I bought. It was like, I literally bought it because it was like it was like a up for auction book, and the auction was ending, and it was literally at like $10. And I was like, I'm going to spend $10 to buy this book just to get it off of the internet so no one else buys this book. And like, I have it. I came across it today. I was like organizing some of my stuff. I was like, this piece of junk. Gross. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So I feel like, also, I've been like kind of publishing the website as it's in edit mode right now. But like I've been publishing it as I go, so people can give us feedback on, hey, Melanie, you titled this book incorrectly, or like you have Catalan on there twice, or whatever the case may be. Like I have it. I'm being very transparent with this like editing process, because it's a lot of content, and it's a lot for one person and 3 people to kind of be moderating. So anybody that's listening, like if you see something and you have a suggestion or have like an idea of something that you would want to see or how you would want this to flow, like I'm open to anything, because at the same time, like I want it to have similar content to what my website had, but I want it to be our own sort of thing too. So, Erik, you're gonna have to like get on like familiarizing with Wix too, so this way you can help me out.
Oh yeah, love the Wix. Well, and if you have something to suggest, just like it's so easy. If you're already on the website, there's just a thing at the bottom to send us a message. You might as well just drop it in there.
Yeah, literally.
That works super well.
It's very easy on the main homepage. You can just like boop. There we are. La la la. Very easy. Oh, I just realized that we still have the little TikTok bird at the bottom of, or not TikTok, Twitter bird at the bottom of our thing. And Twitter's not a thing anymore.
I got to change it to the X.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing. It's just called something else.
Yeah, what is it now? I don't know.
It's X. You know that song, X Gonna Give It To You?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
God, that's what I think of every time I see the Twitter logo now. Like I go to all these like sports games and like, oh, like they just have like the X, and I'm like, oh, okay.
X. Lame. It's what's happening.
X.
It's
a letter before Y and after W.
It's annoying.
Yes, thank you. I detest that platform.
Is there anything we don't need on the website before we move on?
Very good question.
Like, I think there's stuff, Carly, that you have on your site that's exclusively kind of your project, like the Book That Lives stuff.
I think the Book That Lives is very much like mine and Harrison's, and I mean I don't mind if to link stuff because it's cool to hear.
No, you can easily link stuff, but that's and like
then
your
like the
own
rare and
project.
signed
Like,
the rare and signed stuff, the forgeries. I mean, we can always add that stuff. I don't mind.
But we can just link your website to it. Like I don't know. Like my website has a lot of stuff. Like my Funko Pop stuff, I'm not going to put on our website
because we don't discuss Funko Pops here.
We don't talk about.
We don't talk about Funko Pops.
We don't talk about Funko Pops. But like my website literally has this one-page, one-stop shop for like how to determine whether a Philosopher's Stone is a first print or how to determine if a Sorcerer's Stone is a first print. And like, it's easy to just see that information, how to read a number. Like, I think that that's something else that should be on there. How to read a number line. How to determine your printing.
And,
absolutely.
And addition. Like, what does addition mean? I know
addition versus
somewhere.
Printing.
I know I've got to update my website so much. I've honestly just been putting it off because it's so overwhelming to think about at this point, if I'm being super duper honest. But I think what addition means. Wow, you took my breath away. What what addition means, why print matters, all of that stuff I think is so important because that's where your value comes from. I've answered 3 questions today, not including the last one, all on different social media groups discussing what is my book worth, and all of them were you don't have the copy, I don't see the copyright page, I can't determine it. You know, it's not based off of edition. It's not based off whether or not it's still sealed in the plastic. It's based off of print. So much with these Harry Potter books, print is king. Alongside edition, but you know what I mean? Like you can have the best edition, like a first edition Sorcerer's Stone, and then suddenly if it's 104th print, it's worth $4 or whatever people will pay for it.
Yeah, so. I think it's a matter of, I think the 3 of us need to have like a very open dialogue, and we also have to all be, you know, I think we all have to have like our hands in it. I'm almost done getting pictures up of all of the translations. I have a pile behind me. I don't know if you can see that pile right there. Those are all the book. You can't see them? You can see them. Hold on.
It's right very dark.
It's dark. There it is. Yes.
See that pile, this shelf with pile right here. Those are all the books that like I have to take pictures of to get them onto the site, because I would just like upload when I was doing my website. I would just like upload as I went, and that meant that all of my pictures were in all these different places, and like trying to find things was just so chaotic. So because of that, like I'm missing probably about like 10 or 15 books that I need to get pictures of. And then I was saying to Eric, it's like so bougie and stupid, but like I have to wait for natural light to take the pictures. Otherwise you get shadows and glare, and I don't want that. So, and then the sun goes down at 5 o'clock. I don't get home until 7 most nights.
I know, it's hard.
How am I supposed to do this? I don't know. We'll get there. But yeah, so like that's a big thing. I feel like we definitely talked in our news about like what we collect and kind of like what our criteria is, and that goes into what things we're going to be seeing on the website. So if anyone else has any like suggestions on what they want to see, or how we can organize things, or what they like, or whatever, again, just leave it right on the comment section on the website would be awesome.
Yep.
But another awesome thing that we didn't talk about, that we have to talk about in this episode of this podcast, is our translation of the show. translation of the show. I'm so excited. Okay, translation of the show for this episode is the Spanish 25th anniversary edition. And we talked about this. We teased this last episode because this was one of the books that I got for the holidays. And I had to get this book. It's amazing. Same translator, right, as the original?
It's all the same.
We always have to ask. We always have to ask now.
I just want to make sure. I know. Because I never know. I second guess myself. Publisher, Salamandra. Same publisher. How did you guys get yours?
Amazon Spain.
Mine
also
came,
Amazon Spain.
I think I got mine from a wonderful Discord member, and then I got it alongside the tots from last time. The giant German book. They came together, and it was such a delight.
Yeah, mine came together.
I bought
also.
those on the same day in the same internet shopping spree, but one was on Amazon Spain, one was on Amazon Germany. But
you could have gotten them both. You could have gotten them both.
I could have
Amazon
bought
Spain.
them together. I didn't anticipate buying both of them. I bought the German one first, and I was like, you know what? Well, I'm on the internet, because you don't go on the internet very often anymore.
Might as well. While I'm here,
it takes a while to sign on. You got to hear that noise, the AOL noise. And
you remember dial-up?
Yeah. So I.
Then someone calls
Totally
and knocks you off the
dial-up.
internet.
It was the pits.
The
man.
worst.
It was the pits. And how long it took to download songs? It was like 42 hours.
Wait. So funny. Like, I was running out of space on my laptop right as we were about to record, and I was like, hey, Alon, can you help me get stuff off the computer? And he's like, yeah, wow, 50 gigs of this is my songs that I downloaded. I'm like, okay, we have Spotify, just delete them. You don't need. No, but I paid a lot of money to get those songs. I have to put them on a hard drive. I was like, no, you don't. It's okay. Pastelon made a mistake, and it's okay because we have Spotify now, so you can still hear all of your songs. He didn't delete them.
Really
He's
cute.
waiting to put them on his hard drive.
I would too. I wouldn't delete them. That's me. I would delete them.
It's nostalgia. I get it.
I was gonna say, because we all got this on Amazon, you too can get this book too. Just go on Amazon Spain and buy one. It's not hard to find.
It is not hard.
You will pay the regular price of this book plus the shipping from Spain, which might be a tad much. So you might want to bundle it up with some other things that you're getting in Europe, like that giant German book or some of the new French covers. They're probably on a lot of the European Amazon sites. So, buy a couple other things with it, unless you don't mind just paying I think it's like 30 euros to ship here.
Yeah,
which
somewhere
isn't
in there.
super expensive, but it's still not super
can be.
cheap. So,
yeah.
I mean, that more than doubles the price of the book. So, still, when all said and done, it's not that big of a deal. It's the cost of a new book plus shipping.
Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
But how does she smell is the question. I haven't smelled this book
Oh,
yet.
God,
I haven't
let's do it.
smelled
I was
this one
waiting
yet.
for
I'm
this
so
moment.
excited.
All right.
Okay. What page did we smell?
Oh. I'm on 116, my favorite number.
145.
Ooh.
I still have to be very careful with my nose. I can't just shove it in here.
Yeah, gently.
I can't.
Your
Do
nose
not
is so
firmly grasp it.
expensive.
No, firmly grasp
it.
That is an expensive nose
Find
now.
the lid.
Guys, I'm going to say it. I would give this book an
It's
outstanding.
It's
It
a really good
smells
smell.
So
It's a really good smell.
It's the paper. I feel like it's that
the paper,
woodsy paper
100%.
smell. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yes.
Some of I say it every time, but Slovak, it's clearly the ink in the Slovak books, which is, know that Slovak is my outstanding plus book. But the paper just smells awesome.
But it's a different kind of outstanding than Slovak. Slovak has that wonderfully, that ink smells so sweet to me. And it smells very different than this book, but this book is outstanding.
This is-
It
it's
is
outstanding.
So good.
Not
to
a sweet,
smell.
not a
Like,
sweet smell.
If
It's
this
an
were a
outstanding,
candle,
but not a
if
sweet
this were a
smell.
candle, I'd buy it.
This smells
hands down.
what I think Hagrid's hut would smell like.
Yes,
woodsy,
very earthy
earthy
and woodsy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's really good.
Absolutely outstanding.
Love that.
Here.
Wow. Cool.
Outstanding.
Size and proportion. I'm also, I think, going to give it an outstanding. And I feel like it's kind of an illusion because of the spine. It makes it feel like it's taller than it actually is. But I love that. Like, I love the size and proportions of it. I think it's great. It's a thick, sturdy book. Like, it does come off very tall. And I like that. I feel like it's nice and different. Outstanding.
How is it in relation to the regular Spanish books? I forgot to look before I grabbed mine off the shelf.
It's taller than all of them. Like,
yeah, that's
I
what
don't know
thought.
if you can see. My Spanish books are right here.
I thought it was taller than the rest of them by a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
It's taller than all of them.
All I'm saying is if they made 25th anniversaries of the others, I would sell all of my other Spanish books to have the 25th anniversaries of these. Minus the Spanish cone and where they get all weird. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is wonderful. This is outstanding for me there.
I'm not saying that I would get rid of my other Spanish books, but if this came out as a set, I would buy this whole set.
The regular Spanish trades that are just like the regular mundane Spanish trades, not the Southern Cone, not the digital art, and not the book clubs, but like just the regular Spanish trades. I would sell those to keep these.
I love this
because I much prefer this to the other.
All right,
even though the other's unique cover art ish.
I gave it outstanding for me. Also.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding
size
here.
and proportions. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
how it feels in your hand. I'm gonna just give it Nick Seed's expectations, if that's okay.
Yeah, I think it feels kind of slimy.
It is. It's that weird. It's a weird kind of texture.
Kind of
it's slippery.
Slimy. Like, it's like not even magazine glossy because it's a little grippy, but you can't get quite a grip. Like, I feel like this is one of those things where, like, it's like if I was standing on a really tall building holding this book, I would get like really big butterflies because I would, like, the sweatier you get, this book would just slide right out of your hand.
Gross.
And then it would fall. Hopefully not on a person. So I don't actually love how the cover feels, like, when you're reading it, but I do like how the pages feel. So I would give the cover, like, an acceptable. I would give the pages, like, almost an outstanding, I think. So I'm going to just give it an exceeds expectations and meet right in the middle.
That's
but if
exactly
it was just cover, I'd go down to acceptable if it was just cover because I'm kind of like, ugh, like, it just feels
it's
like
a weird texture. It's like a very
I love the cover. Like, this is
You're allowed to love the cover.
Yeah, this is an outstanding plus for me. Like, when I got it, all I did was like touch and feel the cover for a while. But it does, like, it feels like a turtle bind or library bound edition for me.
Yes.
And I love how those feel in my hand. Like, all of them, I will sit and feel them all day long. And the paper, y'all are also right. This is outstanding paper. Like, the quality.
Oh, I love the paper.
Good paper.
It feels so good in the hand. I'm talking about how it feels in the hand. The paper quality.
You said the word. You said the keyword. You said the keyword.
But it feels good in the hand to flick.
All right. Well, speaking of quality, I'm giving the quality an outstanding. It is sturdy. The corners are sharp, and the paper quality is phenomenal. It is absolutely outstanding.
Not only is the quality awesome, but, like, I mean, we'll probably talk about this with X Factor, but, like, the paper, like, the paper has a border on it. A purple
and it's all
border.
the pages.
And then,
it's all the pages.
There's, like, the edges, because of the paper border, look kind of purpley too. Like, the side edge looks a little purpley. I love it. It's not like, I don't think it was an intentional, like, the side edge was a color. It just looks that way because the paper. So I kind of wish they would have done, like, a more solid purple side edge.
Could you imagine if this was the side edge, like this?
Oh, that would be amazing.
I love
this, like, the quality, like, purple. It's really sturdy. I think the spine's really well done. It doesn't crack. It's bound really well. With exception to how the cover feels, and that's just a personal preference, this book was made really well. So I can't not give the quality an outstanding because even though the cover feels a little slimy for me, like Kermit the Frog almost, like, it's still great. It's sturdy. It's not going anywhere. So the quality, the build of it is really, really
it's
good.
outstanding.
I'm giving it an outstanding.
Outstanding here. Quality. I think the one caveat, like we were discussing all the little things that they put in as far as quality goes, I wished it would have come with a ribbon bookmark.
Yeah,
maybe they just thought that, everything that's been coming out lately has got the ribbon bookmark, and they're like, yeah, we're not just going to be like the rest.
It would have been like a nice deep purple ribbon bookmark. I would have loved that. But that doesn't take away from the outstanding either. It just would have been one more reason to call it outstanding, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure. But
cover art and interpretation of the cover art, 2 words. The spine. Like, that's all that has to be said. Amazing. And the reason why I can include that in cover art is because the detailing of the spine goes onto the cover, and the same
and the foiling too.
Yeah, the silver rainbow foiling is used on the logo and used on the stars that are on the cover. It's outstanding. It's
and the back cover, stars in the back cover too.
Oh my god,
yep.
So sparkly.
It carries through.
It's unbelievable.
Outstanding. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Outstanding. It's probably one of my easily favorite Duddle.
It's my favorite Duddle.
Covers.
This is my favorite Duddle. Easily.
Oh, well, you mentioned last episode, like, if this book is on a shelf in a bookstore, just the spine, you're going to want to look at it. Like, so that's amazing. And being the only book on my shelf with a spine like this, set amongst just like a sea of Mary Grand Pré books and Thomas Taylor books, like, this is it's a piece. It's a standout piece. People, like, pull it out. They're like, what's this rainbowy one? I want to look at it. And, like, the rainbow is on the front too. It's just great. I agree. It's one of the best, if not the best, Johnny Duddle covers and back covers.
It's my favorite Spanish book by far.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can say it's my favorite Spanish book, but it might be. It probably is my favorite Spanish book. Because all of the other,
like how it has the little like 25th anniversary down at the bottom, the little tape, like what you get with the Japanese books. I love that
could
because
be
the purple.
That could be your X factor. That could be your X factor.
Yeah, I guess. That wasn't
You didn't get one of those?
Though.
I don't think I got one of those.
Aw,
I did.
Maybe I did. Usually, if they fall off and I don't want them on, I stash them somewhere. So I'll have to look in my little stash.
Yeah, take a little peek-see for it.
To see if it's there.
You may have to buy a second to get it.
X Factor. What would you guys say for your X Factor?
There are so many
things. My
things.
X Factor for this book is the fact that it is an anniversary book and it looks like an anniversary book. It's a familiar book cover. It's not taking anything new that we haven't seen, but they are really making that older cover, even though it's a Duddle cover, it's not like the original cover, which I think might have been cooler, in my opinion, if it was the original Spanish book with the rainbow action, but it just works so well with the color palette of this book. But anyway, it's a familiar cover to us Potter collectors, but it's like really zazzed up, and that to me is the definition of an anniversary edition. It is celebrating Harry Potter being out for this long, and that's what this book looks like. It looks like a celebration, and that's the X Factor. It's perfect. If the U.S. book did this, it would be an absolute must-buy. The entire set.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's all they had to do. Rainbow, shiny spine, a little more sparkle on the cover, maybe make the border on the pages. Like, it's not hard stuff. They could have done so much more with this book, but they didn't have to. This is all they needed to do to make it really great. That's my X Factor.
Mine, perfect. I love the border on the pages. And it's every page, right? It's not just at the chapter heading.
Every page.
It's every page. And that, to me, when I flipped through it, I saw that and I was like, what? And then, like Eric pointed out, because of the purple border, we have this nice lavender. It's not a sprayed edge, but it kind of looks like a sprayed edge, but better, right? So you have this wonderful different colors of purple all throughout this book, and you can't help. I'm not even a purple person. It's not even close to my favorite color. I love this book, though.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, my X factor has got to be the spine. And for everything that this spine is, the fact that it's silvery and rainbow and unique and gorgeous. If you didn't listen to our last episode, I said this whole spiel about the fact that, you know, when I think of a European bookstore, I think about how it's kind of set up like a library, and you see all of these book spines, like how you see our library set up. Like you see spines, you don't see books being advertised by their front cover. Whereas Harry Potter in the United States, you see it at Barnes & Noble, where you see the front of a Mary Grant Prey book, and that's how you know that it's a Harry Potter book. So they had to do something to make these spines stand out.
Bookstores are just bigger. I mean, everything's bigger here. We have a lot of space in this country,
but like,
so
if
you can have big standees and stuff.
But I'm sure your Barnes & Noble has like a whole section just dedicated to Harry Potter. Like, I know that mine does. It has
Absolutely
a whole
does. Yep,
wall
mine does.
The size of like my house of just Harry Potter stuff. Right. And
even my Target store has like an entire shelf. It's not like a big, huge thing, but it's still an entire shelf, and it's 2024.
I know.
Like, and it still has its own shelf.
And that's the thing. I feel like here, like Harry Potter is just such a major thing, and it is everywhere. You know, I'm not trying to say that, but like, you know, it's not being. I get the impression that it's not being advertised the same way there, because it doesn't have to be. But in order to sell this book, this is what's going to sell it. And the spine sells it. And this meaning the spine, like looking at the spine. And I 100% agree that when this book is on my shelves, it's going to be something that stands out, and people are going to notice, and people are going to be like, what book is that? That's awesome.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. And being Spanish is on like my bottom shelves, like I know that this is going to be the book that like Nora's going to grab and be like, Mommy, that book is cool. Because it is.
And if she wrecks it, you can just go to Amazon Spain and buy another one for not that much.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. You're right. Whew.
Maybe just buy a spare now. Just get a spare.
Did you guys see that there are special illustrations at the front of the book?
Yeah, I saw the illustration of Peeves that's in there.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
And then you flip through, and there's like Diagon Alley, or what it, There's a doorway into Diagon Alley. I don't know. Like, this is art that we don't see in the other books, and I just wanted to make sure to mention it here because it is so cool. There's Harry being dropped off with Hagrid.
It's art that J.K. Rowling has sketched. It's not exclusive to Spanish.
It's not what's her name.
Which I love that.
I love that they included all of that so well.
Yeah, and they're not necessarily new. Like, I've seen these in other special edition books, too.
Did you go to the back of the book?
I was just looking at that. The time. Oh, did you see the timeline?
It's a timeline. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that timeline. Well, they actually do have. So there's that, and then in the back they do have. I'm going to mention like unique Spanish art from the first book, like the sketches.
Yeah.
Wow, those are really cool.
Guys, they have a timeline of publications from Salamander and Harry Potter.
That's so
great.
Cool. I feel like this is a very...
It's an anniversary edition. It's incredible.
This is very summarized in comparison to... But I mean, we have a whole episode talking to Patricio about like the Spanish books. And I feel like that is a much more detailed timeline about like how the Spanish books came to be.
I figure that conversation could have still been going on had we not stopped it. That was so interesting.
Oh yeah, but I mean, this even mentions Pottermore. It's very cool. This is very, very cool.
I love that. Makes me love that book even more. Like such detail.
It's phenomenal. I agree. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, Spanish books. So good.
And we have it published in more than 80 languages. I love when they throw those facts out there, and you're like,
it definitely is in more than 80 languages.
Show me the list that you're using.
That's a good question. We could email Salamander and be like, so where's the list? What are you working with?
I don't know, but we definitely know that it's more than 80. Like, that's such like a stupid answer because we're almost at 100. I don't know.
Very much so.
So silly.
Yeah.
And if you're counting translations or languages, that will also change.
I know. Oh my God. Oh, that goes all the way back to like the website and everything. It's just so crazy. But as far as this
full circle.
Yeah, as far as the Spanish book goes, I think we just about wrapped it up. So that is all we're going to have time for today. If you want to get in touch with us, there are a plethora of ways that you can do so. You can reach out to us on Instagram at All the Pretty Books, at Nocturne Erik, or at the Harry Potter Collection, or at Dialogue Alley Podcast. You can also find resources at our websites, which was a big topic of conversation in this episode. So we'd love if you guys could hop over to dialoguealley.com, give your feedback, give your input. We'd love to hear from you. And take a look at Carly's website, all the pretty ducks. Bet. I don't know what I was going to say.
All the pretty ducks.
All the pretty ducks.
It's all the ducks. And
that's being updated soon, like as we speak as well.
Yeah. So take a look at her website. Take a look at my website, which is theharrypottercollection.com. See what things you like from both of there that you would like to see on our website, or what you don't think needs to be on our website, whatever. Like, any kind of feedback is helpful. We're also on X, I guess.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. So you can reach out to us on any of those. We're also on MuggleNet, which is one of our favorite ways that you can see our podcast. You go to MuggleNet and you can like drop down their little menu. There's a bunch of podcasts and we're one of them, which is really crazy cool. And if you like what you're listening to, you can always support us a little bit further by subscribing, supporting us on Patreon. Did you hear that? That was my book falling over. But she's sturdy, so she's happy and fine.
The quality is outstanding, so she's fine.
It's a quality item. We've determined.
We have determined the quality is fantastic. So yeah, you can support us on Patreon. It gives you access to our Discord, all sorts of resources. The chat is never ending. It's all a bunch of really awesome people. So you do that by going to patreon.com/dialoguealley. And with all that, it's now time to walk back through the archway and into our daily lives. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.